What's going on, guys? Welcome. Oh. There we go. Sorry about that. Had to mess with the lights here and also make sure my stream was connected. Welcome on, everyone. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube and on Instagram, and there will also be a podcast recording about this episode as well down the line. Before we begin, I hope everyone is doing amazingly well, and we're just gonna wait for some people to hop on here. Make sure we're good. Everything looks good to me. Let me know if you guys are on YouTube or Facebook. If you can hear me, welcome to the video. Today's video is going to be quite simply about how to protect yourself against COVID-19. And, I hope that people aren't taking this as an attempt for me to take advantage of the current situation for viewers or an audience. That is not my intention. I've been doing a lot of research about what's going on and, particularly how this thing is actually affecting the human body. What's up, Jessica? And how and why people are getting so sick and so debilitated from it. So I wanted to create a video, right? And those of you guys on Instagram joining on, you're watching this video being filmed live. I wanted to create a video to spread as much awareness as I have to those of you who are curious about the best possible ways to protect yourself from an immune system standpoint against not just COVID-19, but any and all threats out there moving forward in the future. It's a very empowering thing and feeling to know that you have, as an individual, protected yourself against something that is essentially preventable. From what I'm about to show you and tell you all today, it's a very comforting feeling to know that you are doing and know everything you can know about how you can possibly protect yourself. And that's what I want to provide you guys here today, is an opportunity to feel that and come away from this video in a way that feels good, that feels protected, that feels empowered to make these changes as you move forward in your life. So once again, we're live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and there will be a podcast out. My YouTube channel, for those of you guys who don't know, is called The Ancient Science for the Modern Soul. My podcast is called The Modern Soul and Stars Podcast. And of course, I'm here live on Instagram at br_Tobias and my Facebook page at Brandon Tobias. Okay, so let's get into the content of today's video without further ado. First of all, the first thing I'd like to talk about is there are a lot of conspiracy theories going around right now about how and why this thing came out, why and how it's spreading so quickly, and why and how it's so debilitating to the human body, as I said before. And the first conspiracy theory that really caught my eye was that one associated with 5G. And I was very curious about the validity of this connection with 5G coming out, right? And, I've worked in the health and wellness industry and the biohacking industry for a number of years now, and I, could see the correlation between non-native EMFs coming from technology and the disruption that it causes to the human body and to the cells in particular. And I reasoned, this can't be too far off, maybe, perhaps, that 5G could cause, some mass health disorders. I don't know. So what I did was I watched a couple of videos by some doctors I really respect, and I did some research. And it turns out that this whole crisis, this COVID-19, all the ones that came before it, SARS, MERS, the flu, the Spanish flu, 1918, it turns out that, interestingly, right, there was this doctor, Dr. Cohen, who went back in time and said, approximately 4 to 6 months after the installation or introduction of some brand new radiation emitting technology, such as radar, such as satellites, such as now 5G and other technologies he mentions throughout the video. About 4 to 6 months after the introduction of those mass encapsulating non-native EMF, electromagnetic frequency, for those of you guys who are unfamiliar, non-native electromagnetic frequency emitting technologies, there was some massive outbreak or pandemic actually that quite severely debilitated the human race in some way, shape, or form. And he comes on again and explains all this, and before even mentioning 5G, right, he explains the backstory and the history, and then he gets to 5G, and he says, well, about 4 to 6 months ago, we installed like 100,000 new towers across the globe, with the epicenter in Wuhan, China. That was the starting place of where it actually originated. That was the first place to actually have these 5G technologies installed. So, and it's been kind of a race, right, with them, the technology race. Now, before I go way off into conspiracy world, do I think that 5G is the sole cause of this pandemic? No, I don't at all. What 5G is probably, it was the last, probably, again, this is going off of my opinion, not facts anymore, but what probably 5G did was it was the last straw on the camel's back, what's up, Inder, that had us crack and or our immune systems, the compromisation that our immune systems are at, right? The amount that our immune systems are currently compromised in modern society and globally was exposed and shown through, right, finally, the introduction of 5G worldwide and across the globe. And it's really, really interesting because he goes on, Dr. Cohen, this is video, I should definitely put this in the link so people can hear about it and be educated. But he talks about how this virus and viruses in particular are simply the cell's attempt to emit or let go of toxins inside of themselves. It's the excrement of toxic cells that are no longer able to work properly in the body, right? That's where these viruses come from. Okay. Now, because of that, right? Because of that, what happens is these viruses are then transmitted from animals to people, okay, or from the biolaboratory. We're not sure which. There was a biolaboratory right next door to the wet farm, the animal wet farm in Wuhan, China. And the viruses come in, and obviously they are doing their thing, right, as a virus, trying to invade and take over the system and causing debilitation. But the key point that I want to get out here for everyone listening is the fact that it is not these viruses, or this virus in particular, that is causing such substantial damage to the human body. Okay? It is not the virus itself that is causing people to die or get very, very sick. Okay, this is the incredible part where we have both a lot of work to do as a human race and a lot of optimism and hope, right? If you look at it properly. The thing that actually kills people or gets them severely debilitated is their own systems, their own immune systems, okay? Producing something called a cytokine storm within their own system, okay? Which then goes and starts to attack and degrade the person's own tissues within the body. Now, different viruses, right, and strains of viruses tend to cause this targeted attack on different systems or tissues in the body. COVID-19, as we've seen, happens to target a specific lining within the lungs that, once degraded, under attack, is unable to transfer oxygen into the bloodstream as effectively or as efficiently as it would have normally. So this is why people get short of breathing and tight chest, because they're trying to breathe, but they're not able to assimilate the O2, the oxygen from that air, very effectively and transfer it into the bloodstream. Okay. Now, none of this is what the virus actually does. The virus doesn't have some genetic blueprint that says we are going to attack and degrade people's lungs. That doesn't exist. What the virus does is it creates such a substantial threat or signal to our bodies to be able to defend against this thing, okay, that if we don't have the proper vitality or ability or resources or power of our immune system intact, okay, meaning in some way, shape, or form, our immune system is compromised due to a number of things that we're exposing ourselves to in the environment, including, but not limited to, 5G. Okay, this video is not about the conspiracy theory of 5G. It's just bringing that in as one of the potential elements that are contributing to a compromised immune system. Okay, what happens is when we get exposed to an environment that has dirty air, dirty water, dirty processed or toxic nutrient-deprived foods, and of course non-native electromagnetic fields or frequencies coming from, for instance, 5G, among many other things, in addition to a lack of actual contact with native electromagnetic frequencies that are positive and healing and restorative, like the earth itself and all of nature. When you combine all of those elements together, it creates compromised cells that can't function properly, that can't properly and efficiently excrete waste products and receive nutrients, and have a what's called a permeable right cell membrane, where it's not able to protect itself or right from the things that it needs to protect itself from. It's not able to kill itself off when it's supposed to be killed off, which is what leads to cancer, and also it's unable to intake the nutrients properly. And on top of that, because of all those things, because the cells aren't able to intake the nutrients in the proper way, excrete waste products, or hold or contain enough water, the electromagnetic charge around the cell and the body cumulatively goes down. And when this happens, this lack or drainage of power is what directly contributes to the lack of resources or ability, among other things, for our immune systems to actually battle and protect itself and ourselves against any threats. So what happens is there's something called the interferon system within the immune system. Okay. Now, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, so these aren't things that I can extremely fluently pronounce or talk about. But again, this is coming from a direct video from a highly qualified medical specialist in the field, Dr. Cohen. I can share the link in for you guys after this. But essentially, he talks about the fact that there's a couple different systems within the immune system. The one that basically is like a general protection against toxins, threats, bacteria, things that are entering on a daily basis. We're touching people, touching our nose, like just general protection. And then there's like the specific, highly trained protection against actual viruses and things like colds and flu and COVID. And it's the secondary system that actually isn't able to produce or have on hand these specialized warriors, he calls them, or fighters, against specific threats like COVID and beyond. And what happens is the interferon system basically goes haywire and goes into overdrive and causes your body to produce what's called, again, a cytokine storm, a storm of these agents that then go out and just hyperact to the various tissues within your body and start attacking and degrading. And again, for whatever reason, this COVID-19 tends to cause your system to target a specific lining within the lungs that prevents you from being able to assimilate oxygen properly or input enough O2 into the system. Now, please watch this video. Make sure you fact check me on all this. This is a summary of what he said. It's not, as in-depth or as detailed or as fluent as he would talk about it. But the reason I wanted to talk about it today is simply to tell you that if you are able to, this is going to give you your power back. If you are able to come from a place of optimizing your immune system and removing all the things that compromise your immune system, aka your cells and all the tissues and systems in your bodies, your immune system will have a normal optimal function, and because of that normal optimal function, it won't have the overreactive response that is actually harming people. This is the thing. This is the reason why, if you are relatively young and or healthy and resilient, you've got a much better chance of being quite well, if not even barely symptomatic through this thing, versus someone who is a bit older, who has a lot of other systems compromised or has had more time being exposed to things in the environment that has compromised their systems. What's up, B? So, again, I want to say this because after you watch this video, I want you to leave with a feeling of empowerment and knowing that you can protect yourself if you do everything you can to be able to, optimize and increase the resiliency of your own immune system to prevent it from being in an overreactive state where it can then, potentially compromise actual vital systems within your body, which is the thing that's really hurting and harming people. Okay? So what are those things? What am I talking about? Like, how can you go from a place of, being in the world to then being in the world and optimizing your immune system and protecting yourself? First and foremost, as a general disclaimer, okay, stay inside. First and foremost, just before I even forget that, this is a video about preparing your immune system. I should have said that way earlier. Preparing your immune system, feeling protected, empowered against this virus yourself, and so that you can do the same for others. But first and foremost, listen to the government. Stay inside. They are only trying to help. It's more than just, feeling like you can be safe or be okay. It's actually, preventing the widespread spread of this thing to people who maybe can't handle it as well as you. So I just want to say that as a general disclaimer. Most of you guys watching this video probably already know that, but just want to put that out there anyway. Stay inside, stay isolated, or stay with, friends or family for the time being. But to feel safe and protected and empowered, here's what you do. Okay. There's a few different vitamins which are directly involved in the health and ability of your immune system and your physiology overall, but particularly in the immune system. And those vitamins are vitamin D3, vitamin K, K1 and K2, vitamin E as well, and vitamin A. Okay, those four vitamins: vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin K, 1 and 2, and then vitamin A. In some way, shape, or form are related to and able to give your immune system the raw supplies or materials it needs to protect, to create and maintain the systems within it to produce the resources when necessary. Remember, this is only an adequate threat against us when our immune system feels like it doesn't have the proper resources or energy or production of these particular types of specialized antibodies to be able to combat these viruses. So that's when it's a problem. Now, how do you allow your immune system to do that? Well, you give it the raw materials necessary. Okay, and I'm telling you, the vitamins: vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin K1 and K2, and vitamin E. And if you want dosages of those, just give me a DM. I can let you know. The second thing is, okay, this is a big one right here. The second thing is eating and digestion. There was a recent poll or study or some article I saw that mentioned that nearly half, a huge percentage of all COVID-19 patients who are in the hospital and actually getting serious treatment have some type of digestive issues, are experiencing currently some type of digestive issues. And this is no surprise to me, because when and if the immune system is compromised and not working properly, chances are the digestive system isn't working properly, because the two are correlated, one. And secondly, I like to simplify the body in terms of elements. If someone's, and this is very common in America and the world perhaps, but I know in America, someone's fire, someone's digestive Agni, what they call in Ayurveda the digestive Agni, or the fire, the ability for your body to produce the enzymes and acid necessary to be able to properly digest and assimilate food and nutrients from that food is essential. I'm just putting my thing on. Good. Okay. Instagram. I put no notifications on so I don't get interrupted. It's essential because if you aren't able to do that, then you have all sorts of byproducts from the food that's not digested that coats the inside of the walls of various systems in your body. That leads to stagnancy and bloating and just bacterial overgrowth in the system. And all of this is there to deplete your fire, deplete your the nutrients coming into your body, essentially. So in order to clean that up, a couple things, right? You can try a practice of intermittent fasting or fasting. Really, really important for just... Oh, I think I turned my camera around. That was weird. Really, really important for clearing out any undigested matter in the digestive system that is slowing your ability to properly assimilate nutrients and energy from your food. Another thing is using a digestive enzyme or HCl tablet as a supplement. Bioptimizers makes a great company, makes a product called Masszymes and HCl Breakthrough. Both of those things directly contribute to the fire, the digestive Agni, the capability of your stomach to actually digest and assimilate nutrients from food properly. And if you can do that, now you can feed and nourish your systems, including your immune system, to be able to fend off adequately any threat that comes in, whether it be COVID-19 or anything else, in a way that's not out of desperation or overreactivity, which is the thing, again, that harms people the most with this virus. So that's one thing. So getting your digestive on point. Fastest way to do so, if you're experiencing any types of, whether it be bloating, pain, constant gas, chances are, right, you're and loose and or irregular and or just not easy stools. Sorry to get so personal, but if you're experiencing anything like that, you are not properly burning off and digesting and assimilating your food. So either look into these supplements that I mentioned, or practice a little bit of fasting, clear everything out, and then look into these supplements. Again, if you're looking for guidance on this, you can reach out to me and I can steer you the best way I know how. So digestion, vitamins A, D, K, and E for sure, and also magnesium. Forgot to mention magnesium bicarbonate. Magnesium is an amazing coenzyme essentially to almost every single process in the body, and it's the one thing that most people are most deficient in by far in society because of various things, farming practices, the water we drink, etc., etc. So magnesium bicarbonate is fantastic. Digestion, okay. Now sleep and digestion go together as well. This is the third thing I'm going to mention. That's the best way to, yes, Indirt, I love it. Indirt said he went and grabbed my Bioptimizer pills. I love it. Sleep for sure is the sleep and digestion, right? So the first thing is if you are going to bed, okay, within an hour or two of eating a big meal especially, and you eat that big meal after sundown, your body's ability to actually, again, digest that food and properly store it or utilize it in the right ways or react to that food are compromised a little bit. It's not the worst thing in the world, but when you sleep, especially when you allow your body a chance to actually go in, clean and clear things out, heal, adapt, and right, evolve its systems to be able to protect against everything else it went up against this day, you want to have an empty stomach. So you want to ideally eat about 2.5 to 3 hours before bed minimum, and try to eat your last meal no later than sundown. Okay, for right now it's about 7:04 p.m., something like that. Try to have your last meal no later than that. Okay, so, and then sleep. Try to get in bed before 10:30. If you go to bed after that, that's okay. But what happens is, and you can see I'm wearing what's called an Oura ring. This tracks my sleep quality, my REM sleep quality, my deep sleep quality, my light sleep, my HRV, my heart rate variability. So it's tracking the quality of the sleep I get on a daily basis. And if I, and everyone in general, if you go to bed after 11, or sometimes it differs for different people, 11:30, 10:30, things like that, studies have shown you will actually get a second boost, a second cortisol spike, and you'll have less, lower quality of these restorative types of sleep, like deep and REM sleep, that are the true ones that raise your resiliency and protect your immune system against these types of threats. So maximizing REM and deep sleep by not eating within 2.5 to 3 hours, preferentially even longer than that if you can. But 3 hours is pretty much the sweet spot to fully digest and assimilate your food with an empty stomach before even going to bed, because that's going to be the best way you can protect yourself. So to sum up here, vitamins A, K, D, and E, fixing your digestion either by utilizing a company called Bioptimizers, taking digestive enzymes and HCl tablets to restore the digestive fire or Agni, to be able to properly assimilate nutrients from your food. And also Agni is associated with general vitality and the ability to burn off and cleanse and clear the body from foreign invaders and infections and bacteria. And it is directly correlated with the health of the immune system. Immune system is a marker of the fire in your body, the digestive Agni in your body. Other than that, right, there's more supplements you can take. One of my favorites is, so the two themes, right, that I want to get across to you is, if you can do things that, again, restore the natural ability of your body, the fire, the power, the vitality, awesome. Those are the things I'm talking about now. The second thing, though, you can do is you can actually intake things that are in their very nature antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal. I take another supplement from Bioptimizers called a herbal parasite cleanse. It's one of my favorites when I was dealing with candida overgrowth or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Those of you guys are familiar with that. Basically, that is one thing. That's one of my favorite supplements that just clears you out and helps to kill off anything in your body that's not really you from a negative standpoint. All natural, all herbal. It's not any potent type of medication, but really, really effective to clear things out. Those of you guys looking for a digestive cleanse, really good place to start. It's called Herbal Parasite Cleanse by the company Bioptimizers. And then you can also take, there's a couple things. So oregano oil is really, really good for it's also, I believe, antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral. There's also tea tree oil, which would be good to take as an essential oil. Tea tree oil, oregano oil, all the vitamins I mentioned, as well as aloe vera, and then apple cider vinegar as well. Apple cider vinegar, about 1 to 2 tablespoons if you can handle it, in a glass of water. And then after that, a cup of aloe vera juice. Preferentially, these things are taken first thing in the morning, right after you get up, or maybe 30 minutes after you do your first movement or breathing or whatever you do first thing in the morning. So it's going to do a couple things. One, it's going to alkalize your system. Number 2, it's going to help your system clear and cleanse out any of the waste products that are trying to get out after sleep, after 8 hours of sleep. And number 3 is this alkalinity is the environment that your cells need in order to function properly. and from a more peaceful, relaxed, restful state. Okay, you can associate and with when the pH of the body is balanced. Okay, when it's able to balance itself without taking away a bunch of its own resources to buffer the acidity of the system. Your body has to work way less hard. It's in a much more peaceful state, parasympathetic state, as opposed to sympathetic, that stressful, hyper-focused, state of being. Again, if we think of the body as an entire system, and with the thing that affects us the most deeply is overreaction, all right, both emotionally, physically, and mentally. Anything that can keep us in a relaxed, calm, peaceful, and optimistic, calm state is also physically going to benefit us as well. So it all ties in together. It's all layered in together, guys. If you are, again, in emotionally or mentally a hyper-stressed, overreactive, fearful and uncertain state all the time, chronically, because you let your mind take over in these situations, you better believe it's going to affect your physical system, particularly your immune system. It's been shown actually that emotions like fear actually suppress the immune system. So it is no accident, right? The body is an entire integrated system, and you are at the helm of of your body, right? And you can control and optimize your body by taking in the right things, avoiding the wrong things, and emotionally being disciplined enough to stay in that positive, calm, centered, and optimistic state. Okay. So, all these things, right? Waking up. Okay, let's sum up here a little bit. So, all right. Vitamins A, D, K, 1 and 2, vitamins E. Shilajit is another fantastic supplement you can take. It's a tar that comes from the Himalayan mountains. Tar-like substance that is basically called the conqueror of weakness, I believe. It's like a nickname, conqueror of weakness. But it's been shown to have many, many benefits in the system, including, helping to relieve fatigue, immune system benefits, adrenal benefits, and even hormonal benefits as well, and libido. So again, it's like extremely full of every essential nutrients and vitamin and electrolyte that you could need, right? Shilajit has. I don't know if it has everything, but it has a lot of them. Okay, so all those vitamins, Shilajit, apple cider vinegar is a really key one. Aloe vera juice, and then if you want to go this far, Bioptimizer's Herbal Parasite Cleanse. All of these things are, again, antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, and they will actually help your body protect itself against any incoming invaders, which is really cool. And then on the secondary side, the vitamins are part of this, but a couple other tips just to throw in there in terms of removing yourself from environments that are causing harm to your system and your cells. Okay, we talked about non-native EMFs. Best practices to sleep, really, are to literally take your phone, my phone's filming me right now, and put it all on, turn off your Wi-Fi, searcher, turn off your Bluetooth, turn off your cellular network, and put it on airplane mode before you go to sleep. And what this does is if you don't do this, your phone is constantly intaking or receiving the signal and searching for the signal around you. And what this means is it's literally emitting radiation, a non-native EMF, and especially imagine you guys who sleep with it next to your head or any part of your body. These things have been shown to have quite disruptive and harmful effects on our cells and bodies overall. So turn it all off, get it away from you, preferentially unplug everything in your room, and try to create as from an electromagnetic field or frequency standpoint, as EMF free a room as you possibly can. Second thing which I mentioned, okay, actually I didn't mention this, but water. Okay, in terms of water, we're going to go through the 4 elements here. Water, stop drinking tap. I would personally not want to drink most bottled water. What I would prefer is if you have some type of reverse osmosis filter, you can take that water, some clean filtered water, and then you can put either As you can see here, my water is white. It's not by accident, it's actually water with magnesium bicarbonate inside of it. So you can put magnesium bicarbonate inside of your water, which will replenish the electrolytes normally present in the water. Or you can get like a remineralizer kind of bottle from Amazon, and you can actually put a couple drops of minerals in your water. Now, the reason this is important is because the body can't utilize or absorb water properly without the proper mineral and electrolyte content, magnesium, calcium, and potassium in your system. And if you don't have these, if you're not consuming water alongside of these things, it can be problematic for your intracellular hydration, which is correlated with the health of everything else. Food, okay? Excess sugar coming from processed foods devoid of fiber are the worst possible thing, one of the worst possible things you can have right now. And it's part of the thing that causes our systems to go into such chaos, because let's say just from a piece of cake. All right, I love cake. I had cake the other day. It was my mom's birthday. Susie Cakes, chocolate marble cake. It was delicious. But I'm consuming a vast amount of sugar and fat and almost no fiber. And what these things do is they go into my system, spike blood sugar way up. Body has to release a bunch of insulin to bring it down, and then there's a crash like this. If you have a really healthy, insulin response or metabolic system, you can get away with that for quite some time. But for most people, you are by causing these continuous spikes and dips in blood sugar. That is, again, in a lot of ways, both stressing and causing your body to overreact, again, right, to certain substances that you put in the system. And it's no surprise that people with diabetes in particular are susceptible. People who are overweight and have diabetes are susceptible to COVID much more than others. So it's all connected, guys. It's all connected. So if you're going to have sugar, have it from an apple, lots of fiber, low glycemic, and things that are going to take a while for your body to process in a natural way. Otherwise, just avoid sugar altogether and stick with complex carbs, sweet potatoes or potatoes, brown or white rice. Fantastic, fantastic. Anything with a lot of fiber, slow burning, low glycemic is going to be a really good option in order to avoid those blood sugar spikes and avoid the overreactivity of your system to anything that you put into it. That's the general theme. If something in your life, emotionally, mentally, physically, is causing you to, has you in a place where you're overreactive to that thing outside of what a proper reaction should be, that thing most likely is putting you at a higher risk for viruses, and in particular COVID-19. Okay. So we talked about water, we talked about food, okay? We talked about certain vitamins that help with the immune system, we talked about digestion, and we talked about sleep, okay? Is there anything else that I want to talk about? We talked about EMFs and limiting EMF exposure, particularly during sleep. If you can go one step further and do this for your everyday, that would be amazing as well. But I understand in a modern world it's tough to do so. The other thing that I'll mention is, as opposed to just avoiding these types of things, the best way to actually counteract these non-native EMFs coming in from various sources, not only in your room, your cell phone, your technology from 5G now, is to actually go out and find a nice spot on the earth and go barefoot and just expose yourself to the bare earth for a number of minutes. 15 to 20 minutes first thing in the morning is fantastic after you've consumed your apple cider vinegar and your aloe vera juice and all your vitamins that I spoke about. Fantastic way to start the morning, and you can combine that with a little breath. Awesome, awesome, awesome. There is something else in particular I wanted to mention that I recently began taking again that I hadn't taken for a little while. This one's a little bit more foreign or unfamiliar with a lot of people, but it's called HydroTabs hydrotabs. And what it is, it's molecular hydrogen that you're able to take from a pill and dissolve into water. And basically what it does is, because of that extra hydrogen molecule, the water becomes something called H320, and your system actually is able to utilize that in the creation of intracellular or structured or exclusion zone water. And the more of that you have, the higher the electrical potency of your system overall, and your cells and your immune system, and the higher resiliency you'll have. So anything that causes overreactivity, dehydration, or destructuring of your water, like EMFs, like toxins, things like that, are going to put you more at risk. So anyways, guys, this is a pretty comprehensive list of stuff you can look at, but I want to end this video by just saying, you know, we're in a very unique time right now, and it's a scary time, but it's also a time that if you look at it the right way, it's a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call, because the question being asked is, well, now that shit's hitting the fan, are you actually prepared, and are you actually ready to face this, both within yourself and your immediate environment, friends and family around you, right? And just ask yourself that. Am I prepared? Am I prepared within my own body? I understand logistically the need to isolate yourself and get supplies and things like that. That's great. But are you yourself in your own body aware, educated, and prepared to be able to be confident that you can withstand something like this even if you were to get sick? That's the protection that all of the things I mentioned in this video will give to you if you're willing to receive them and actually utilize them. And I just want to say I am so open, honestly, for free at this time, just because I feel it's part of my responsibility to educate people. But if you guys have questions or need help or direction with these types of things, please reach out. Please shoot me an email or direct message or whatever you can, and ask me questions, and I will gladly answer all of them as much as I can for free, depending on the demand, and give you guys some direction here. All these things I mentioned I do personally, and I actually had not been doing them for a little while because I was getting lazy and complacent. And when this thing came around, it was like a reality check, like, oh, you better start doing these things again, man. Practice what you preach. So that's where I'm at. And, just as a final summation or review, right, best things you can do, 3 things I would say. 1, remove any and all toxic things from your environment, physically, mentally, and emotionally, whether that be non-native electromagnetic frequencies from cell phones, technologies, etc., etc. Remove any and all sugar and excessive sugar and processed foods from your diet, any and all toxic forms of water that don't come from a good quality filter and or remineralization, that are able to give your cells the type of water it needs to actually absorb and utilize it. And then input, right? So that's the first thing, removing yourself from those types of things. Also, emotionally, anything that makes you feel overreactive or, outside of yourself or your peace or your calmness, your optimism, get that thing out of there. It's going to affect you physically. And then adding in the nutrients and raw materials your body needs to create a resilient team within your immune system, so it doesn't have to overreact and go crazy and create these cytokine storms. Vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K1, K2, and vitamin E, and magnesium bicarbonate, as well as Shilajit, apple cider vinegar, and hydrotabs, and aloe vera juice. All those things I can list out if you guys want to reach out to me. And then optimizing digestion and sleep. So noticing if you have digestive issues and finding out the cause of that. Most likely it's caused by low digestive fire or agni in the system. Getting to the root of that either by doing a fast or doing some type of cleanse. A company called Bioptimizers makes fantastic products. Masszymes, P3OM, and HCL Breakthrough are my favorite ones for resetting digestion. Reach out to me if you want more details on that. And then generally getting to sleep before or at 10:30, maybe investing in something that will track the quality of your sleep so you can improve upon it on a daily basis. All really good things to do. And so long as you have these routines in place for your own health and sanity, you know that whether or not you get it from the world, that you are protected, and therefore you're able to protect and give yourself to others in their time of need because they might not be as protected. So anyways, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, this video will be on my YouTube channel, Ancient Science for the Modern Soul. If you loved it, please give me a subscribe, a like, a share, a comment. It would really help me get the word out to everyone else who needs to hear this information. Also, I do have a podcast, Modern Soul and Stars Podcast, on Apple Podcast. Would love if you could give me a listen and a 5-star review. I'd really appreciate it. Also help me get the word out on those platforms as well. Other than that, I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Please let me know if you have questions, comments, concerns. Shoot me a direct message and we can talk. Please stay safe, continue to stay isolated, and stay positive, most importantly, and optimistic during these unprecedented and trying times. I love you all, and we'll see you on the next one.